Yeah, welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We're starting off today's discussion with some introspection on Team Jamaica's performance at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Now, Jamaica ended the Games with 6 medals, their lowest collection since the 2004 Athens Games, where they earned 5 medals. For many onlookers, the performances fell short of expectations. So, what went wrong, if anything? Or was it just bad luck? Or was there another or other contributing factors? The legendary track and field coach Glenn Mills, the man who guided the career of the icon Usain Bolt, world champions Kim Collins, Johan Blake, Antonio Watson, he's joined us in studio to unpack some of these issues and lend his expertise and genius to a series of ongoing conversations. Glenn Mills, it's a pleasure to have you on the SportsMax Zone, and for the first time ever in this new space, because the last time you were with us, it was at a different place.
Yes, somewhere off Malines Road, I think. But I see I've moved up into more spacious and glittering surroundings.
Well, thank you very much for the kind words. Let's talk some track and field and the Olympic Games. So many individuals have said that the performance by Jamaica in Paris was below par. What does Glenn Mills say?
I disagree somewhat from the angle that I look at it. Going into the Olympics, there were great expectations, but I think that if the expectations were measured against the reality at the start of the Olympics, then you would have a different view. We have, as you mentioned, been doing well in terms of number of medals earned. But if we look at where the medals are coming from and were expected to come from, we would realize at the beginning of the Olympics that there was great doubt as to whether these medals were realistic in expectation. For example, there's no doubt that everybody was looking to Sharika for 2 medals, yes, and more likely 2 golds. But the reality is that we all saw that she was injured in a meet just before the Olympics. And while we might not know the extent of the injury, it was evident that it was severe enough that she had to stop and limped off. So if you look at going into the Olympics where the level of competition is grueling and it's 3 sprints in 2 days, and so on, that it would be a challenge for her to stand up to such a grueling thing and then to come back a day or 2 later to go back through the same cycle. Unfortunately, she was not able to grace the track at all, despite all the efforts that were made in terms of treatment, rehab, and things. So, and that would affect the relay. So you're looking at 3 right away, 3 medals that you are counting that you should not be really counting.
Yeah.
The next person that we would be looking for is Shelly-Ann. I would say, I usually say Shelly-Ann the Great, because her career, as they would say, is not normal.
Yeah.
She has been absolutely fantastic over the years. I remember I first saw her 2008, and when she just burst on the scene, and when she won that gold medal in Beijing. I'll never forget the sight. And she has gone on year after year after year, despite several setbacks with injury with toe and so on. And then the knee injury, which has literally crippled her season. I think before the trial, she had one run.
Yes.
And then I would say miraculously, she got through the trials because I could see that this is not the Shelly-Ann of past years. And so counting a medal in this Olympics, which I would love to have her to see her go off in the moonlight with something in hand, but it would be hard for you to put that number down.
Yeah.
And so where else did we didn't do well outside the sprints? The hurdles, I think that Broadbent was short of brilliant because he is coming from a knee injury, that with a knee operation and so on. And I was really impressed with his competitiveness and the way he fought for that medal and so on. So were you looking at Parchment himself has not been 100%. I remember he missed Racers Grand Prix because of injury leading up. And we saw him at the trials fighting for his life to get in. And when he usually have no problem qualifying the top three. So are we looking at the medal count and the expectation in real time reality? Maybe because of my involvement and experience and having an appreciation for what it takes to get an Olympic medal. My assessment and expectation was not as grandiose because I remember speaking to the technical director and says, those numbers are not real.
What numbers were they?
I want to save him.
Hold it right there, Coach, because I want to put the conversation in a little bit of context by looking at what Jamaica has done at the last 10 global championships, dating back now to London 2012. So if we look at that, starting from the London Games, of course, where Usain Bolt repeated as the 100 and 200 champion. So
you could go back to Beijing.
Yeah, we could go all the way back to Beijing. But you look, 13 medals at the Olympic Games in 2012, 2013 World Championships, 9 medals. 2015 World Championship, 12 medals. Then the 2016 Olympic Games, 11 medals. Just 4 medals at the 2017 World Championships in London. And remember a lot of the issues that happened there. But following that, 12 medals in Doha, that was in 2019 at the World Championships. And then at the Olympic Games, double-figure medals again for Jamaica, 10 in 2022, 12 in 2023 at the World Championships. So when you look at those numbers, you will have to say that there's been a serious level of consistency. And as you pointed out, you go all the way back to 2008. Given this 6, and given everything that you have just said in terms of the expectations probably being greater than the reality, should Jamaicans be therefore concerned going forward about where our track and field is at this stage and our place as a top-ranking global athletics nation?
Yes, obviously, if there is decline, you would be concerned because your expectation is always for more and more. But I wanted, before I go there, I wanted to, having dealt with the expectations, I wanted to go on to what really happened.
Yeah.
Because I don't want us to overlook the performance of those who got medals and some of those who didn't get.
Yeah.
And when you go to an Olympics and Jamaica wins a discus event with an Olympic record, um, I don't think we understand what that means, because I've been going to that was my 10th Olympics and the last as a member of the official team. When you used to look at the result of that board, it was Europeans, the white, and then the US started to impact. You never ever see, as I can remember, a black man winning a discus event at an Olympics. It's probably the first. I mean, this is something that is out of the ordinary. It's extraordinary. When you reach heights like that, you can't be talking about this poor performance.
Yeah.
When you, the first time we got a shot put medal.
Yes.
That
Rajendra Campbell.
Yes. You know what that means? Because the field events are extremely technical.
Yes.
And with all the other stuff that goes into the development of a shot put and a discus throw, for we to break the grounds in those events. And of course, as Ricketts was consistently sensational.
Yeah.
And the long jumper.
Wayne Pinnock.
Pinnock, I was talking to him before competition, and he was so excited and so on. And he was doing it. He's not 100% sound.
Yeah.
And so when I look at what we achieve in reality based on what we had, I said we did well.
How surprising was it for the team with Stona's gold medal? I mean, it was a shocking result, and it was recorded as an upset. But in the Jamaican contingent, how did the team react to that win?
This Olympics, the accommodation, we were spread out we never really had a thing. But everybody was upbeat. When you see them, was upbeat because you know, one of the things when you go to these games, you're dying to break the ice with a medal, and most of all a gold medal, because you know the sentiments that when you come back home, even if you win. I remember in the days when Merlin used to bring the bronze, and it just didn't have the same. So when you look forward to getting a goal, so you break the ice. So having got that goal, I mean, it lifted the spirit. It was everything that the impact that it should have. But of course, I mean, I think the throws overall, there's a level of confidence and believing in themselves that has been coming on over the years that never existed before. Because usually when the field event, when you make the team and you're a field event person, but now they are an integral part and they are very, very confident.
But then, you know, the stage was set because Frederick Dakers, who is a world championship silver medalist, couldn't make the team. And it's not like he's 36 or 37. I think he's 30 years old. So he's in the prime of his career.
Right.
And he was unable to make the team. So that was an indication that that group was a solid group.
Yeah, the depth is there, you know. We have 4 or 5 world-class tours, and that is fantastic for Jamaica.
And also, interestingly, Chad Wright, who made the final in Tokyo 3 years ago, couldn't make the team this time around. So that adds to the point about the depth that is in Jamaica's discus throwing.
The other thing is that they're young. They're pretty young in the thing, because field events, you can go longer, like throws and so on.
Yeah.
And they're, at Stona is very young.
Yeah.
So it's good. Now, back to the question you had posed
About concern.
About the concern.
Yes.
There are a number of things to be concerned about. When you quoted the numbers that were earned from the various Olympic Games. It is interesting to note that more than 75% of all those medals come from MVP and racers combined.
And
As a matter
MVP
of-
being the Stephen Francis coached
Yes.
group and racers being the Glenn Mills coached group.
Yes, yes.
Just for clarity.
And at this Olympics, for the first time, Stephen only got one medal, and maybe for the second time, racers got no medal.
Yeah.
And the last Olympics, I think Stephen got 6.
Well, by the
or
way,
5.
racers did get one in the men's 4x100 relay, but it went to Great Britain. with Zarnell Hughes.
Yes, yes.
But none for Jamaica, so point taken.
Point taken, yeah.
So, what it says is, at the point I'm alluding to, is that there has to be a development of greater impact and diversity from other clubs and other individuals, overseas athletes, etc. Because the last 3-4 Olympics, the dependency that's not necessarily a good word, dependency, but the impact has been so concentrated in one area. And so if that area suffers a setback in anyone, it leads to a colossal drop in numbers.
Yeah. Which happened this year.
Yes. A thing that hit me very hard is that for the first time in about 24 years, Jamaica got no medal in a relay.
And was not represented at all in one. That's the men's 4x4.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fiasco that should never repeat itself.
Yeah.
But what it is saying is that the way we go about relays will not work anymore. It can't be business as usual. And something has to be drastically done to reorganize the way we prepare for relays.
Yeah.
A number of nations have now stepped up the ante. They have squads, ongoing squads, yearly squads preparing year after year and they're pouring money into these squads. And even if they do not have frontline sprinters getting medals in the individual events, they have very formidable relay.
Yeah.
And if you look at the times and the depth of quality that is out there, then you realize that we just having trials and put people together to go and compete, that's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
And the writing has been on the wall, because when in Eugene, I was stunned that with us having 6 of the top 10 or 12 sprinters in the world, in the female, and we couldn't get the gold medal.
Including the top 3.
It says, hey, wake up, Jamaica. You got to do something about what is happening.
Yeah. Glenn, you just said something about the 4x4 fiasco, and it should never be allowed to happen again. I've heard certain quarters pointing fingers at the coaches for being uncooperative, which contributed to the non-qualification of the 4x4 team. How would you respond to that?
As I've said before, and I said again, the business of relay organization is not the responsibility of coaches. The relay represents a team, and you have got to have a central body or persons who is responsible for the team. When I am coaching Watson and company, I'm not coaching them to run 4x4. I can't tell them that your motivation is that we're training to run the relay. You understand? They have their goals as individuals to achieve. So the relay is an offshoot, so to speak. So I don't know, and even if I was doing it at races, I don't know what my other counterparts are doing. They may very well not think about any relay, and I'm there preparing for relay, and one or two persons can't run relay. It takes organization. And what happened in this case is that I did not know about the qualification method for relays from the world.
Yeah.
Before, it was the top 8
Yes.
finalists who would have the qualification to go forward. And I understand that over a year before, the World Athletics had sent out correspondence to the associations about what the qualification should be. Now, a member of the executive says that it was on the site and we should go and look. No. When I go on the site, I'm looking what are the qualifications for the 400 meters, etc. What should have happened is that immediately that you got that kind of correspondence, you make contact direct with each coach that is coaching the quarter milers. Yeah. I have long said, look here, you should have in modern days, you should have on your website the top 50 are in each event, etc., based on the rate, like how you could go on the World Athletics and you see all of that.
The top list.
And so what should happen is that your technical director gets in touch with all these coaches and say, look, the 4x4 qualification has got to go through World thing in May and so on. And so we want you to include this in your preparation. And we got to know that from the beginning of the season. That is why World Athletics sent it out a year before.
So are you saying then that when the J3, for example, reaches out in January and says, are you available for the World Relays, that is not enough?
No, that's a joke. Because, and I'm not trying to hammer anybody here, but when you call me in January about World Relays, I have already prepared my periodization and cycle and competition targets, etc., from the conditioning period. So I'm not. If I have somebody like what is the world champion and I'm preparing him to come to defend his or to come to the Olympics, I'm not going to pull up his program to facilitate something that I'm even unsure about, to go there and qualify. If we are contacted early and all of us are made aware, we would probably start talking to each other and say, okay, we got to let this thing happen and so on. Even with the colleges, the athletes in college, if the coaches are contacted, because it's just right in Bahamas, and says, okay, can we fly them in for one day and fly them out the next day? I'm sure, because I spoke to 2 coaches and they said, yes, it could happen. If we know well in advance.
Yeah. Here is something that is important, and it has come up a lot. I know Stephen Francis has either hinted at it or he said it outright, that there are countries across the world who pay their athletes to prepare for relays.
Yes.
So there's a package given to them, and that's the reason why you see those countries, they will have relay camps and the athletes will have no issues turning up to those relay camps because they're paid specifically for that reason by the association. Is that the way that the local governing body in Jamaica needs to go?
There's no doubt that if we want to do well in the relays, we have to have these relay squads. The squads has got to include the top and not limited to, because the second tier persons must be taken into account, because you never know when the top person is not available for an injury or whatever, and you have suitable replacement thing, because the replacement don't have to be a 9-5 person. Because if you have a good 9, let's say you have a 9-8 man who is out, and you have a man who can run sub 10, and he's a good handler of the baton and a good turn runner, etc. He fits in, and you get results just as good. I mean, when you look at Canada, they have that squad been going for quite some time.
Another country that puts forward financial support specifically for relay running.
Yes, and Britain, Zanel, actually he got hurt in the 100 thing. And when I said to him, look, call it a season, and let's get back to rehab and so on. But they have the medical thing, and they work on him, and then give him the necessary treatment and X-ray to see and thing. And he was back in thing within 2 days, and he was excited to run. Why? Because although he didn't do well in the flat, he knows in the relay he has a big check coming. So that can be there. And so it is not by accident he ran co-fastest time in the thing. So yes, we have to go that route thing, or else from not getting medals to not representation, the whole thing is breaking down.
Yeah. We'll have to go to a break quickly, but one final one before we go to the break. I can already hear people saying, well, the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association cannot afford the type of money that Great Britain and the USA and Canada can.
But I don't think they're asking for put on the table what you can. There is, one other thing is that when I look, I see companies giving 70 odd, 80 odd, 90 millions or whatever for the Olympic Games. They need it for preparations. That money can go far away, some of it in preparations. The association, the Athletic Association has a mandate to get the kind of sponsorship money that will develop the sport. You understand? And we are frontline countries. We need to get big sponsorship money. And I see the possibility of big money being offered out there. So we will see. If you get that kind of money, you can have multiple squads.
All right, let's leave it there for now. We're going to take a quick break on the SportsMax Zone. When we return, though, we'll continue this conversation with Glenn Mills. So much more to talk about. We'll be back.